ABC Business Network. Our format for today, first of all, I want to say that I'm recording this. So if there's anyone that really doesn't want to be on camera, then please highlight in the comment section below. And like I say, I'll be copying that off and checking that later, and I'll just block you out. But hopefully, we're all here to be seen and to connect. So fingers crossed everybody's happy enough to be recorded. The plan is to just give this out to members as a member benefit, so that if anybody does miss, I was going to say an episode, is it an episode? A meeting, then they can look over it again, or if somebody hears something that they liked and they want to go back over it, they can. So again, we've got lots of new members joining this month, so welcome to all new members, and if you're a guest today, please do consider joining as a member. Member benefits include things like getting a backlink from our website, somebody else, and what else? Yes, we've just launched our YouTube channel. What we're going to be doing is interviewing our members and putting them up on the YouTube channel. So roughly about a 15 to 18 minutes video on YouTube, just to talk about yourselves, talk about your business, and get the message across. So again, that's another benefit of being a member as well. Another thing I want to highlight, and maybe Esther, you can put the link up to, we're looking for nominations. We've already got a few. How much of an uptake is there on the charity? 2 guys. So feel free to, Esther's going to put up a link, and it's an anonymous link, so you can vote for, make comments on who you think should be our charity partner. We want to make the most of the hosting on Zoom rather than renting out rooms, to give a bit of extra cash towards the charities this year, and we'll be selecting that in the next coming week. So get your submissions in there if you have any suggestions. What else? YouTube channel, Zoom, recording it. Again, if you've arrived late, I've said at the beginning there, please put your contact details in the chat box. And again, we'll be copying the chat box off and sharing that around, so everybody that's on the mailing list will get your contact details should they want to. And again, a wee one-liner of a catchphrase or whatever, hypnosis for anxiety or whatever, or web design, etc. Put your details in there so that we can people can connect with you from the chat information. So the format for today, I've done the welcome. We're going to go around now and do 1.5 to 2 minute elevator pitch, talking about your business. What I'd like to hear about is what your business is, how we can help. And I'd love to hear a little positive story. If there's any nice little positive story for any wins this the last month, just to cheer us all up. And again, if we have any referrals between any other partners, any other businesses here, then please do make sure you give them a shout out. And
you okay?
And that's it. After that, we'll do
Thank you very much.
Alan Forbes' wonderful talk. It's about 10 to 15 minutes, if we can hold him back to 15. He was talking about going down rabbit holes this morning. I didn't realize you only meant it metaphorically in terms of trying to find a file on the computer, and I said, I'm going to see this photograph of this lovely rabbit hole. But so we don't know exactly what he's going to talk about, but other than it's going to be about wildlife and pest control and all the rest of it. It's going to be exciting. Looking forward to that there. Then, if we have time left in the hour and a half, then we'll go out in some breakout rooms and have one-to-one chats and get to know each other better, see how we can help each other, just find out about each other. So without further ado, let's go around the table. And I'm going to go straight to, because Barbara was left the last day. So Barbara's going to be the first on the spotlight. So Barbara, after you. Take yourself off mute. And if everybody else can mute themselves, that would be great.
I unmuted myself, because hopefully you can hear me. That's grand. Yeah, well, There's my brand behind me, which is, well, it's one of them. Wellexpo is part of my overall branding, which is becoached.ie, and I'm a wellness and leadership coach. But I started Wellexpo then initially as a footfall event, and of course with everything that came up, I brought it online, and I started a series where I have been interviewing people within both for business wellness and personal wellness, and helping people how they can get through. And in fact, as I'm not sure if the rest of the panel here know, that I also interviewed you on how the hypnosis could help people through stress and anxiety and things like that. So I'm always looking for businesses to come on board to let others know what services out there for them, how they can help others get through something. It's not a salesy pitch that we put across. Like today, there's a guy who developed a website for self-employed in Ireland, and so it's just what can be done for others, and that's the angle that I had taken on it. But I really don't know what else. It was one way, I suppose, of remaining constant and keeping your brand out there and keeping your identity out there and letting people know that you actually still exist going online. So, I mean, Esther is there, and she came, I rang Esther one day and I said, listen, any chance you want to, you know, manage the tech in the background while I just focus on chatting? And she said, yeah. She just jumped aboard, which was brilliant. And we stream live every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 o'clock on the Facebook page. And it goes through, from Zoom through to our Facebook page, and then, like yourselves, they get uploaded eventually to the YouTube channel. So they're, you know, whoever comes on, then their business is constantly out there, and it just lets people, it keeps everybody aware of who's out there to help them get through things and rediscover and supports and that people may have forgotten about, because it's not always a government agency that you can go to for help and support. It could be somebody like me who's a coach, who just need, you know, who you need to bring you through something, or somebody like yourself, they just need that stress and anxiety lifted and be able to manage with it. So that was the whole purpose of starting the Wellexpo webcasts.
Perfect. And again, I'll give my referral shout out both to Esther for connecting us together, and for you for interviewing me. It was a great interview, and you got a wee bit of a benefit out of it.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like, I mean, as I say, I started it because when this whole thing kicked off, and I know we're kind of starting to come out of it now, I remember thinking, you know, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But almost instantly I thought, well, hang on a second. There's loads of others out there who have had exactly the same thought as me. So what can I do then? Maybe to help them. So I think, and as most entrepreneurs will do, they will look at their skill set, they will look at their tools, they will say, well, hang on, what have I got here that I can use to help somebody else? Because that is actually part of why you become an entrepreneur, or you have that feeling in you, you know, is what can I do to help others? And that was actually the whole key for starting this. It wasn't to bring on anybody to say, I can sell you this, I can sell you that, or whatever. It was actually how their business or whatever can help, or their skill set can help others manage and get through things.
Good stuff. Thanks for that, Barbara. I'm going to nip across to Rosalind next. Let's see if we can spotlight Ros. There you go.
Can you hear me?
I can indeed.
Most of you know that I represent my son, Dr. Jonathan Bloomfield, and his business is health and well-being in the workplace. And obviously at the minute that has really gone on hold, although I know that he has a 100-day challenge working with some people at the minute. But coming out of this, I think a lot of businesses need to look at the health and well-being of not only themselves who are running their own business, but of people around them. And it might be an opportunity then to look at what Johnny has been doing. Last week he did a presentation on character traits, which was very interesting. I actually watched it and took part in it. And it was really looking at the strengths of each person, because we all apparently have 24 characteristics, but they come in a different order for each person. And you might need to rely on those, you know, when we're coming through difficult periods in time. Now, I've actually, I hope I put his details up right, but his business is Support to Perform. He's contacted on that email. So really that's all I can say at the minute, because I know he's trying to keep his head above water, but at the moment people are, I think, more concerned about the fact that jobs are going, and it's just a difficult time to come through. So hopefully soon we'll all be together in person rather than just online, but it's good to keep in contact. So it's Dr. Jonathan Bloomfield, Health and Wellbeing in the Workplace, Support to Perform. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Next on the screen is Robbie. Oh, you're on mute, Robbie.
Morning, everybody. Yes, well, as most of you know, I'm Robbie Abraham. I'm the advertising manager of 3 weekly newspapers, the Ulster Gazette in Armagh, County Down Outlook in Rathfeilen and surrounding areas, and the Newry Democrat. What we've been plugging this past wee while is that we're very much still open for business. We've arranged home deliveries through the supermarkets for the ones who can't get out. We've got an electronic copies available to buy as well, and it's good to see businesses opening up again, so it opens the door for us to possibly move forward again. So if anyone has a business there they'd like to promote in the press or online, give me a shout, please. That's me. Thank you.
Super stuff. And if anybody wants to hear 18 minutes of Robbie and myself,
no, you don't.
check out the YouTube channel. There's the very first link, pointing upwards, very first link at the top of the chat box. Do subscribe to the channel. Do make sure you give Robbie and myself a like video so that it helps our rankings and helps promote the ABC Business Network as a whole. Thanks for that, Robbie. Denise, how's things? Maybe spotlight.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I'll just warn you before I start, I may have a bit of sound effects in the background here. Sophie is with me. I'm Denise Hamill from Digital Den Marketing. I'm a freelance marketing consultant specialising in digital. I spend, I suppose, a lot of my time auditing people's websites and their online content to establish where they are from an online point of view. I write website content, website metadata to optimise the site for SEO. I do a lot of content writing in terms of blogs as well, and helping people to plan their video marketing. I do quite a lot of mentoring on a number of business programs by the local authorities. And Turan, you mentioned a good news story. So I suppose one for me is that I've recently been accepted as a delivery consultant on Intertrade Ireland's eMerge program, which is a program that works with companies north and south of the border to help them trade across the border. So that's going to be kicking off soon. I'm actually technically still on maternity leave at the minute. There's a wee friend here on my knee who is joining us. So I'm really supposed to have just pipelining some work for over the next couple of months, when I do plan to get back to normal as it can be with coronavirus and this edition. So I think that's probably me for now.
Super stuff. Thanks for that, Denise. Stephen, give you the spotlight.
Yeah, morning folks.
Good morning.
Stephen McGarry is my name, from WPA, Western Provident Association, specialise in private health insurance for individuals, families, and the corporate arena. And under the corporate package, you know, staff, as people have said, is very, very important. We have the Employee Assistance Programme, which provides a great network of services for the employer and employees to look at mental health and wellbeing as well. WPA, before the coronavirus came out, they also added in a remote GP service to the core cover for all members, which means you can phone through to a private GP, you can have a private consultation via video link and things like that, which seems to be working very well in the current climate because people want to get seen by GPs rather than going out over the door. So the video link has proved very, very beneficial as well. I'm just here to help. If anybody wants to talk, to look at individual, family, or corporate health insurance needs, certainly give us a call.
What about any big wins? Any highlights?
Any highlights for me? As you all know, I'm not a great geek when it comes to IT, but I've now done Zoom meetings, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams. So I'm getting quite familiar with technology, which is good for me.
Happy days. That's a good win. That's a good win. Right. Okay, let's move on to Esther. Spotlight.
Morning, guys. How are you? Esther Ocampo, IPA Group, based out of Rosalind. Always have worked in a shed, so it's no different right now. Lockdown has been stressful with homeschooling and clients dropping off. Like, unfortunately, some of their businesses have closed, or they're pivoting, or they're just not sure what is left for them to do out there. But for those who have successfully battled the storm and are coming out the other side, they've been coming to us for their website, for their getting their online courses going, for getting their marketing. It's one of the things, Denise will tell you as well, it's one of the things that you shouldn't drop, especially at a time like now. So they've been coming and getting help and advice and support, and getting it done for them in some cases, when they're technophobes, or when they're just literally starting out and don't know even how, what to put on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, any of those. So good news story, I haven't killed my kids, or my mother-in-law. Yes, she's been with us for 11 weeks now. I deserve a medal. And yeah, everybody's still alive, so that's always a bonus. And hopefully we'll be out of this ASAP, because my brain is fried.
You're still smiling. You're still smiling. That's good.
You have to. Otherwise, nothing would work as well. So yeah, it's been a learning curve for everybody. And my son's supposed to be doing his AQEs now in November. So if he survives till then, hopefully that'll be the next step then. But in terms of business, yeah, highs and lows. Losing a few clients, gaining a few others, but on the whole, like, you have to be positive during it all, because otherwise you'll just crumble. And yeah, if you need anybody to talk to, I mean, I'm going through a lot myself, so maybe I can help you with any of it. And if you need to get online, just give us a shout. IPA Group. And
a very wonderful podcaster as well.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about that one.
Don't forget to plug that. There you go.
Don't forget to plug the podcast. Monday Morning Marketing Podcast comes out every Monday morning, and we talk about marketing. It does what it says in the tin. Barbara's been on it, and we just had one there last week about cookies. I mean, like compliance cookies, not chocolate chip cookies. So take a listen. We're on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts. Just look for
everywhere.
Marketing Podcast. Everywhere. Yeah. And if you'd like to be on the podcast, talking about anything to do with marketing, online, sales, etc., get in touch.
Does hypnotizing people to buy things, does that count? Would I squeeze on that?
Possibly. I'm sure we could find an angle.
That's not how it works, guys. That's not how it works. Anyway. Okay, Esther, thanks very much for that. Michael, do you want to get the spotlight?
Hi. Well, hi, how are you? Take your glasses off. My name is Michael Cunningham. I am the Business Development Manager for a company called Momentum R&D down in Bangor. Although I live in Lurgan, and I was invited along by Jason to one of the meetings probably in January. I know Alan Forbes and a couple of other people in the group. So what we do is we specialise in R&D tax credits for limited companies. So if you're entitled to or if you pay any corporation tax and your company is innovative, there may be challenges that you have within your company, and they could allow you to qualify for R&D tax credits, which is a cash injection back into your company. So like everybody else, we were caught like rabbits caught in the headlights when this whole thing happened, and it was a very difficult time for people, and our clients were also rabbits in the headlights, so it was very difficult for them as well. But one of the good news stories coming out of this was that people that didn't maybe have the time to speak to us all of a sudden found that they did have the time to speak to us. So it was quite good. We were getting a few phone calls from people who we had been chasing, who now said, we've got time to sit down and talk to you, tell us a bit more about this. So that's what we do. Anybody who wants to have a chat with us, we're a no win, no fee agency as well. So it doesn't cost anything to have a cup of coffee. And one of the challenges is I don't think I'm entitled to it, or I don't even know what it is. And if you sit down with me for half an hour, you'll certainly come away knowing a wee bit more about it. So that's Michael Cunningham at Momentum R&D.
Perfect, perfect. Next, Rosemary, do you want to take the spotlight?
Hi. Again, like Denise, I apologise if there's any noise here. There's 3 munchkins running around. So yes, I completely agree with you, Esther. The homeschooling is challenging. My business has just been completely put on hold. Since I last spoke to you, things haven't really moved on, but I have been able to carry out online on Zoom meetings training. So that's what I do: health and safety, food safety, first aid training, and manual handling as well. So all of those to many businesses, and sometimes like community groups and things as well. The first aid training is going to be a little longer than all the others at getting back up and running, simply because it's a very practical nature and hands-on. But I'm not putting in measure. I'm following measures that are being put in place to enable it. So it will be happening because it's an essential thing for companies to still follow all of the regulations that are out there, set out by the Health and Safety Executive. So they're putting out measures and extra hygiene, obviously, to enable that. So that's sort of what I do where I am. Is all of it up in the air at the moment. I'm still trying to do online. Need more time away from children to use some of your services, the likes of Denise or even Esther there. It would be great to improve on my web presence and online. So that's part of the reason connecting with yourselves as well, just to get a few more contacts out there and a bit of referrals even, because there will come a stage when things are going to get back to hopefully a bit of some normality.
Tell me this, is it mainly B2B for the likes of the first aid and stuff, or would you do classes for public?
Oh yeah, no, anything. I do community groups. I do I've even done like schools and nurseries, childcare facilities. So I do all, I do sports first aid. I even do, there's a forestry course, which is, I've had inquiries about to get that up and running again for those guys. They're still working, obviously. So it's just when we're safe to do so is to get back to it.
Excellent. No, it's just a lot of people I've been talking to, the whole coronavirus situation has made people a lot more aware of health and safety and just first aid in particular. When I was talking to people, they're saying, I need to know just a bit more about first aid and helping people out now. So you could be in big demand.
I cover all types, pediatric, as I say, sports. I've even done sports groups there, local in Lurgan. Last summer I did their bowling group. I do like pediatric as well, covering all of that. So yeah.
Excellent stuff. Thank you. We'll move to Graeme.
Now I'm unmuted. Good morning, everybody. Graeme Weir from Federation of Small Businesses. A familiar face to lots of you. Haven't been in this group for a while. There is a bit more hair about the chin, but like a lot of other people, I've got away without shaving for a while. I am a membership advisor for Federation of Small Businesses. You'll all be familiar with us. FSB has been very much responsible for the rescue package that's put in place for business. We're the largest business organisation and the most influential lobbying group. The furlough scheme, self-employed support, Bounce back loans, the BAS loans, they're all FSB schemes put forward to the government, the Chancellor, and that's what's in place for our members. We are funded entirely by member subscriptions. So the more members we have, the more money we've got to spend on our members and on the lobbying effort that we do. So members are absolutely crucial to us. That's where our strength comes in, the 170,000 members. But all the backup support services that we provide are fully operative. Our helplines are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our main services to members are free legal help and advice. A member who has employees, when they phone FSB for employment law advice, they're phoned back by an employment lawyer who's an expert in the field, who will work alongside an HR advisor or HR manager. But we fully indemnify all the advice we give. So anyone who's employing, they must be with FSB, because they know if an employment tribunal happens, they're going to be protected. And there's going to be a deluge of employment tribunals after this. It all goes back to whatever we call normality. We also give full tax protection. We have a team of ex-tax inspectors who handle our members' tax investigations. You know, when they happen, we take care of it, and it costs the members nothing. We work with their accountants and we pay their accountants in full for all the work they do. But you have the biggest and best team in the UK, and it's free for the members. So anybody who's not a member, if you want to talk to me, it's not a hard sell. It's not what we do. Any businesses you know, anybody who's self-employed, any charities and social enterprises, they're eligible as well. We have an awful lot of them now. Up to 250 employees is our scenario. Get them to talk to me. It's not expensive to join, and the protection is enormous. And we do cost savings as well. So that's me, Graeme Weir, Federation of Small Businesses. Nice to be back among you, familiar faces.
Good to see you. And I'll give a plug. I have to say, I'll give a plug for the FSB Awards, even though they were delayed, because I was nominated for one of them. So better plug it out as well.
I was one of the judges. Don't let on.
Oh, okay. Right, Graeme.
we are working on that. We're going to roll them into something.
Happy days. Happy days.
Continue.
Okay, Marc, next on the spotlight.
That's me off mute. Hi guys, Marc Fegan. My business is Marc Fegan Bespoke Estate Agent. So what I do is basically a one-on-one tailored service for people selling their homes. So too often people are passed into offices and passed from valuer to negotiator to admin staff, and they don't get the full service they need from their estate agent, and often they don't even realise that will actually cost them money. Could be 1,000, could be 10,000. But what I'm offering is just that tailored service, low stock list, so that everybody gets the care and attention they deserve. I'm also working with, going to be working with Una and Mavish for home staging from Mavish and photographs and videos from Una and Raymond. So I've got 2 projects lined up, 2 houses lined up for those guys to go in and test what we're going to do. And the theory here is that with a bit of home staging, professional photography on pretty much every property I take to market, it will make them stand out from the rest of the competition on the market. What that does is basically generate more interest, more viewings when they can take place, obviously, and then ultimately deliver a better price for the vendor at the end of it all. So a bit of good news from me is that this week, so yesterday, we had a property completion in Belfast, and last week we had a property completion in Lurgan. So there are properties still moving along and things are still being progressed, and we are hopeful that hopefully within the next week, 10 days, we have some good news about the actual market reopening.
Brilliant. You preempted me because I was going to ask about that there, but you've answered all the questions I was going to ask. Super stuff, Marc. Good stuff. Right, let's move on to Andrea.
Morning, everybody. I'm Andrea. I work for Southern Regional College as a business development, and we help businesses develop and increase their skills levels of their employees. And we do bespoke training and funded training. The good news at the minute is DFE has increased their funding and they're going to pay 100%. So funding will be fully funded. If you are in a company with less than 250 staff and you're a Northern Ireland company and that you're for profit, so it doesn't include charities or social enterprises, but there's a long list of courses that we're offering and training that we're offering free to those people at the moment. If you're interested, I'll get a wee link put up there as well and get the information out to you.
Perfect. Any big wins? Any nice wins just to cheer us up?
I mean, that 100% funding came through, and it's doing well, and we're getting an awful lot of interest in it, and courses hopefully beginning in September.
Excellent. Grand. Right, let's move along to Nathan.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep, great. I'm Nathan Snell. I'm the director of Postmark Limited here in Northern Ireland. I've been involved in direct mail now for about 15 years. And I've got a real passion for post and helping customers grow through the power of post. So I set up the business back in sort of 2018, in July 2018, focusing primarily on delivering those benefits. So we specialize in design, copy, print, mailing, postage, hand fulfillment services, leaflet printing and leaflet delivery. So we have our own leaflet delivery network within Northern Ireland. So currently we're delivering to around about 120,000 households within Northern Ireland. We have very proud of our team. We treat them well, we pay them well. They provide an outstanding delivery quality for us. So our customers keep coming back as a result of what they do. Each one of our delivery guys have a GPS tracker on them, so we know where they are at every stage of their delivery. As I say, outstanding quality of service, and that's why our customers keep coming back to us. So we produce newsletters, we produce membership letters, direct mail packs, we catalogue brochures, leaflets, flyers, as I say. So we do from a small handful of items up to tens of thousands of items. So, for example, we might do a couple of hundred for the Now group for their jam card requests, or up to sort of local deliveries for Todd's of Banbridge and the golf club and things like that. So we provide full level of service for them, and then we just recently won, as a result of some good networking stuff that we've done recently, a campaign of 60,000 into Belfast, London and Dublin. So we do lots of bits and pieces. So we focus mainly on trying to add value to our customers, helping them grow. And we do that by saving them time and money, because we're experts in what we do. So that's basically what we do at Postmark.
That's a lot. Well done. Good to hear from you. And right, let's move on to Martin.
Good morning, everyone. Martin Malseed. I'm in Hollywood, and my background is I've been an accountant for many years. So as an accountant myself, and working with other people, a lot of people live from gig to gig. Obviously, I've had some good experiences. Accountant, I introduced some, say, an R&D tax specialist, like somebody like Momentum, and I got a good check for introduction. But I'm very aware that business owners nowadays work from gig to gig. They also work very hard. I know in my accountancy life, clients are contacting Saturday and Sunday, and so quality of life is not really like it used to be. So I'm also very aware at the moment people are sharing experiences about recommending places to buy food or takeaway food or whatever, and we do that because we recommend holidays. That's our history with people. So about 3 years ago, I discovered a company, a nutrition company, that's come to the UK. I needed to lose a pile of weight. I lost 4 stone. I lost 4 stone over a few months, and I said, Jesus, this works. So just by word of mouth, now that business has gone to Australia, the USA, and so all we do is really help people who either want to earn residual income. Like I joked, but on my phone this morning, I look at my business, and then when I look again, somebody had spent about just 144 quid this morning, and I get 6% of that. I have no idea who did it, but all I know is that I introduced them to that business. So all I do is I help people either earn residual income, people get in better shape, get in better health. The fun about it is I work with all Irish rugby players, Olympic athletes, All Blacks, American footballers, CrossFit people, and I'm mentored by successful people, people who've earned a lot of money. My win for the last week, our team brought in 773 people around Australia, USA, Canada, our big markets. A girl contacted me on Sunday who I've been speaking to since April. She lives in Croydon. I've never met her, but I've built sort of a business relationship with her over 3 years. She ordered a box. She wants to go on a campaign to get fit, and she's at the same time at the moment. The big advantage at the moment is we're speaking to people in the past who I'm going to use the word too arrogant to speak.
You're breaking, your audio is breaking up a wee bit there, Martin.
Who made their money by running spin classes and said, look, we're speaking to people we're speaking to everybody at the moment, just saying, look guys, here's a way we can show you how to build passive income. And they either say, look, that's not for me, I prefer to work, and that's fine. I just show people that there's a way to make extra income. That's what I do. Martin Malseed from Hollywood. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Mark. Like I say, your audio was breaking up a bit, the signal was breaking up a bit, but I got the gist. I know you from before, so anybody that doesn't know you, I don't know if they were able to piece a few bits of those pieces, but sounds like you're doing well and you're doing all over the world, and you're making money, and that's the main thing right now. So good to hear from you. Who have we next? John McKenna. The spotlight.
Okay, all good?
Yes.
All right, morning everybody. Also pretty new to the group, first time last month. Carrying on from Rosemary's theme of forestry, I thought my win for this week would be to take the office even more remote and bring it outdoors. So you'll forgive the background scenery here, but we're trialing an outdoor office, might as well make use of the nice environment we have. So John McKenna is the name from J&K Consulting. Basically what we do is developing more sales and better profits, and it's really by getting closer to your customers. So 3 main areas. One is looking at existing customers and potential customers in similar markets or different markets for you. Looking at the profitability of these customers, who's most profitable and who should you be spending your time on and with, especially in this new era of distant relationships. And thirdly, and this, if we're necessary, approaching these customers to discuss either more business or better business in terms of profitability, penetration, and more sales. So quite often we all have a client list. There's some customers on it we possibly need to drop because they're taking up too much time or not making enough money for us, so that effectively we can focus on the better customers and the more profitable customers. So again, it's a commercial service for large companies or small, initially usually for short projects, and some develops into longer. 3 main areas: looking at customers, looking at the profitability of them, and then approaching these customers. And ideally, exactly, to bring more sales, better profits, especially now when all our markets are changing, customers are going left, right, and centre. It's a time that's really busy. I'm finding people are trying to stabilise, but then I'm trying to get going again. And I've seen in the last couple of weeks a lot of customers are talking about getting out, innovating, trying to do different things, and that's where we come in again to help. So happy to chat with anybody that wants to. My contact details are there. Looking forward to helping anybody who can.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Move on to Paul.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. This is quite a strange morning for me because all these old faces are popping up. To Michael Cunningham, I just want to say I've still got your Jerry Anderson book that you lent me 4 years ago, and if we ever meet up again after these COVID times are past, it'll be nice to give you back your book. I only borrowed it 4 years. It's not really that long, really.
Let's hope it's not on a funeral, Paul.
Nice to see you in the group. Also, Graeme Weir, you keep popping up. No matter where we go, you keep popping up. So nice to see you back again. And the other gentleman we have this morning is Martin Malseed, who I think I have refereed at rugby and is now a renowned rugby coach. Is Harlequins, is it? I think it's Harlequins. I hope we got the right club. So yeah, nice to see all you guys. So it's good to see people in the group. My story is, yeah, I'm still working away on my own in the office, as you can see. Marketing is doing quite a bit of marketing, trying to keep business coming in and trying to service business that we have. So it is hard work. It's hard work. It's strange old times, as we all know, but you got to keep plugging away. So that's what I'm doing. So I suppose a win for me is we did have a new job a couple of weeks ago, so that's good. That's our first new job in about 2 months, so I was very relieved to get it. But things are picking up. Building sites have all opened again. Builders merchants have opened, so it is all moving in the right direction. So that's a bit of positive news. So that's
excellent stuff. And you've been posting on Facebook and LinkedIn some little 3D
I've been doing
stuff. So that all looks good.
There's a guy, Brendan, that was at our group, so I've been speaking with him. So he's been giving me a bit of help with that. So that's, you know, as you can see, a lot of marketing there. So that's been fun. So
that's it. Keep things busy.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Paul. What's the business?
Sorry, I'm an architect. We're a small architecture firm, and
sorry, thank you.
Based in Portadown. I didn't mention that, did I? So it's just assuming that. So yeah, and if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn. Not so much Twitter, but yeah, we do quite a lot of posting on those, what we're doing at the moment. So if you want to like us or follow us, whatever it is, by all means, so you'll see the feed. So that's me.
Indeed, I think I did that last month. I'll just give out a shout to everyone to, again, we'll send out the chat. So find everybody's name, search them up on LinkedIn, interconnect, and make sure you give thumbs up, likes and shares to posts and stuff like that there. Helps all our businesses, helps all our social media marketing and that sort of stuff. So good reminder for that, Paul. Thanks.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you.
Darren is on the spotlight.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me okay there?
We can, indeed.
Yes. Right, my name's Darren Haughey. I'm a business support and innovation design engineer in the college. I work with Andrea there. So it's my job essentially to deliver upskilling and engineering projects. I suppose within the college we cover IT, we cover hospitality and tourism and food. Myself and one of the other design engineers cover everything engineering related. We deliver our projects through a series of funded projects. So a couple of them you might know yourself. Work with the Department of the Economy, Invest, all that good stuff. So I suppose a good news story, maybe not from this week, but from a couple of weeks back, we were actually able to utilise college resources to produce 1,000 face shields for the sort of the deficit, I suppose, of PPE. So it was good to go in and do that, and within 5-6 weeks to put out 1,000 face shields, and
that's
you know, between maybe 2-3 guys at any one time. So yep, that's what we do.
Good stuff.
And I actually see there a cousin of mine's on, Mark.
How you doing, Darren? Just seeing you there.
All right, Mark. We have the same taste in t-shirts, Mark.
Looks like it, yes.
You might see the family resemblance, I don't know.
Yeah. Hope you're well, mate. Well.
But no, Mark's a good lad. Good to deal with now. So.
Grand stuff. Thanks for that.
I need a house, Mark. Help me out.
and now we'll move to Mr. Wilson, the Tom and Jerry of the business world.
Hello, how are you? Philip Wilson. I came down a couple of years ago and spoke. Really loved coming down to see you all on ABC. Hello to Turan, hello to Martin, hello to Graeme, a few others. Good to see you. What I do, I work with illustrated animated video, so cartoons for business. I work each and every day with voiceovers, with scripts, storyboards. We create a very unique video for your business, or videos sometimes for your business. If you have a story that you need to tell over and over again, which all of us do, and you're kind of sick of telling it, you can send people a video. It works through the night. You can put it on your LinkedIn. You can do all sorts of things. We've done some videos for some people in the group. Jonathan Bloomfield got a really good video off us. He was a good contributor to it as well a few years ago. And before Turan asked, because he's very predictable, loads of wins. I was on a marketing thing there a few months ago, and I had no wins. The first 10 days I sat in lockdown, I thought, oh God, this is going to be it's going to be held. But about 10 days after lockdown started, people started ringing. One woman rang from a talk I'd given 4 years ago. So just shows the benefit of getting out and doing some networking. And I'm currently, just let me look at my list there, that's what I was doing. I'm currently working on a video. The videos are a bit dry. They're not the fun, hey type videos that I normally do, but I'm working on for sexual propriety. I'm working on one for breast cancer awareness. I'm working on one for coaches who are struggling, not coaches who are struggling, for kids who are maybe struggling coming back to coaching, and the coach notices something, a cut knee or a very bad attitude, a video to educate coaches on how to deal with children who are maybe coming out of lockdown. I've got two other projects, one about boobies, so one about breast cancer and boobies. I've got boobies everywhere on my computer. Two others, but I can't think just off the top of my head what they are. So very different and varied stories, interesting stories. Videos tend to be 60 to 70 seconds long, and they tend to be really cool. So if you're looking at something that's cool, different, fantastic, but myself, give me a shout. And just before I go, big thank you to ABC for having me along. This, as Paul said there, Paul must have refereed me as well. I must have been as memorable as Martin Malseed, but nice to see. I think he said old faces. My face didn't used to look this old. It's been lockdown. That's done that.
Okay.
Nice to see. Nice to see people getting together and keeping this stuff going, and especially just before I finish there, big shout out to Turan who has this meeting absolutely bouncing along. So well done to Turan. So that's me, Philip Wilson. Again, if it's okay, I'll put my details in the thing. And as soon as you're up and running, I'll come down and see you.
Put the details in there and join up as a member. You get the replay as well of this, and you get back links from the website, as I said earlier, to the people that came on time.
I was washing my hair.
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing. Okay, and I'll spotlight myself now. Spotlight myself for the back. By the power of magic, bang. So my name is Turan Mirza. Feel Good Hypnosis is the business. I help people improve. Where is it? There you go. Improve yourself, improve your relationships, improve your life. Helping people with anxieties at this time. Doing a lot of work just with general anxieties about the lockdown and the stresses of that, fears and phobias, etc. Again, I'll give a reminder, shout out to Barbara who interviewed me. A lovely interview, very, very good interviewer that she is. Everybody was commenting, seemed to mention Barbara more than me when when I was showing off my video. But anyway, and that's got me another. I've done about to do another interview as well, so that's another win. Thanks to somebody seeing that when Bernie Allen wants to interview me for her show, and we actually did a video session with a mystery client, so I got to work with someone for Fear of Spiders and tune into that when it comes out to find out if it actually worked. Say nothing. Other win for me is I won an award last week for helping other hypnotists, hypnotherapists in the industry. Again, like most of us, the first couple of weeks of lockdown were quite low, so I kept busy by helping others and giving feedback to others, and won an award for that last week, and that news will be breaking more in the next couple of weeks. Right, so let's move on. Where's Alan? Is he ready? Are you ready? We'll go for our 10 to 15 minute talk. We're all looking forward to this, so I'll swap back to my ABC background. And Alan, take the lead. I'll spotlight you, and then you can share your screen or whatever.
Right. Let's see if we can get this.
Just realized I didn't give you your 2-minute pitch, but you can incorporate that, or maybe it is incorporated in.
Well, hopefully you can see that now who we are. There's the 2-minute pitch. Before I start, I should say, don't always listen to everything that Mr. McAlister says. I asked him to have a wee look out the back at something at our house a few months back, and yes, his advice was, don't spend your money on that. Spend your money on flights to Lanzarote. Look where that's got me. So anyway,
I'm keeping your marriage together.
Oh yeah. Anyway, what I was thought we would talk about if for a few minutes is wildlife and how things have changed. A lot of you know me as Alan Forbes from Hygiene Zone. Pest control is the background of our business, and along the bottom here you can see some of our accreditations. We're members of the British Pest Control Association. Some of the very few people who have this wildlife aware accreditation, and we are certified to the European standard EN 6636. So there's quite a lot, well, we like to think we're professional. Last night, Chris Packham on the One Show talked about wildlife and changes, and he showed lots of nice pictures, but not everything has been pretty. So what we'll do briefly, I hope I'll try and keep on track time-wise. What has changed? Why there are increased sightings of pests, such as rats and mice, but also there are other things, birds, insects, and then what would we normally expect to see at this time of year? And as well as that, how can we maybe reduce the chances of there being problems? Finally, I hope to try and leave you with the thought that there's no need to panic. Okay, so what has changed? There are fewer people about on the streets. I don't know whether anybody has been in Belfast over the last number of weeks. Well, traffic is getting busier now, but certainly it was like the tumbleweed flying down the streets. At the end of March, Google tracking showed about 85% fewer people in the group retail and recreation, and fairly obviously 50 to 60% fewer people in the workplace. Well, that really has meant that there's less litter, fewer bin collections by private and the normal city council. So there's been more pressure on rats and birds and other pests for food. Less disturbance, but also when people have been at home working in their gardens, they're actually seeing things during the day that they may not see if they're out at work. And less disturbance. I don't know whether anybody recognises that it's the underground car park at Victoria Square at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, when in normal times you couldn't get a car parking space. That was about 3 weeks ago. So I think it's fair to say that the economy is hurting. So what do animals and birds need for survival? All animals need food, obviously, water, somewhere to breed, somewhere to shelter, a harbourage as we would call it. But unlike other wildlife, rats and mice are what's called commensal, and that means that they live and benefit around human activities. So they're basically with us, we are providing comfort and food for them. So if you abandon in lockdown your premises and leave the bin area looking like that, or your car park locked up and looking like that, it's not any wonder that you're going to have pest problems. Walk last week out at the back of the outlet here in Banbridge. Someone had had their takeaway sitting in the car and just threw out the bag with the lunch, with the takeaway wrappers. So waste and litter attracts pests. This is the rubbish washed in on the tide at the harbour. And of course, the rats living in the armour there in the rocks soon figure out where the food source is. So you can see them sitting there. One of our clients, this is a picture out of the security hut at one of our clients, where the security guards were putting out food for what they thought were birds. So they've left food here. I think you can see the grey squirrel. You might see as well the water they had left. So they've provided everything. The local rats didn't take to the squirrel on the food, and this is what happened. I cut off the video there because he dropped the camera as he dropped his phone as the rat ran under the security hut where he was feeding. But this was the comms cable coming out of the conduit below, just outside, and the video cables have been chewed, so they are going to have problems. So how can we reduce the chances of problems like this? We've said that all animals need food and water, shelter, somewhere to breed. So if we remove one or more of these, we're going to reduce the chances of problems cropping up. If you have holes at the back of your building like this, where somebody is taking bricks out to put in air conditioning pipework, you're going to have problems. Seal it up, block up the holes, stop them getting in, it's going to help as well. If you feed birds at the minute or at any time of the year, as you can see from the security hut, it's going to be a problem. This is a squirrel that's found the fat balls put out for the birds, but in truth, rats will find them as well quite easily. Bird feeders at this time of year, it's not needed at all. Well, if you've locked down, as we said, if the back of your building or your skip area is like this, you're going to have problems. More problems here: rubbish, waste, food. This was at the back of the motorway a few weeks ago in the lockdown, and just near this, there were some very, very expensive cars which potentially could have been damaged, parked close by. If you move out of an office and leave it like this, well, I think it's fair to say you're inviting problems. What's going to be hiding in the background there that we can't see if we're trying to do an inspection? Stagnant water. Rats and mice need water, but water left dripping or in under surfaces like this will not only provide that, but will provide somewhere where flies can breed, and you can see as well perhaps mold in that unclean, untidy spot on the tiles in this old kitchen. So it's not rocket science, folks, to try and resolve some of these problems or reduce the chances. If you think of simple good hygiene standards, that'll minimize the risks. But if you're opening up again after your house, it's not your house, your business has been closed for a while, do an inspection, check, and some of the tools that we would recommend that you need for a good inspection: a torch so that you can see things underneath and down the back of fridges or freezers, whatever, underneath. Overall, so that you don't mind getting dirty. And we would always say a good pair of bendy knees if you can get them. So it's really common sense. So let's look at something else. That's particularly rats and mice. So let's have a look at some of the other things that are happening. This is the breeding time for many bird species, lots of them at this time of year. We've got resident birds, and particularly around Belfast, the gulls are very active breeding at this time of year. A number of years ago, the refuse tip down at Duncrew closed, so all the gulls that used to feed there moved into the city centre, again feeding on the litter and rubbish that we've left. Gulls pair up at this time of year, and round about May they'll have a clutch of 3 chicks, and then again they'll breed in August and have another 3. So the population is always growing. Problem that they have sitting on top of things like this, their poo across expensive vehicles again is quite a problem with the acid that's in them. It's not nice if you've got splattered as well by seagulls. Other birds are migratory, and we have at this time of year house martins, swallows returning, and it's fantastic to see them flying around in the evening. Starlings, the parent sitting on top of this house, it was a shop actually, sitting on top of this building, he's bringing food back to the nest. But unfortunately, they have built their nest in this broken extractor vent, and here you see the 3 chicks screaming and squawking for food from the parents that are constantly bringing it back. These chicks left after about 2 to 3 weeks. That's all it takes from the eggs are laid to hatch out, but the noise and the smell inside that enclosed area was something pretty nasty. Now, before you all get upset, we didn't do anything until the chicks had gone, and then we got the extractor vent repaired. So that's birds. At this time of year, insect activity is increasing as well. Life cycles of insects depend on temperature, and at this time of year, insects proliferate. This spring has been really, really good. It's been ideal. So everything has been increasing in numbers. At this time of year, you'll see this is what's called a maybug, which is a rare enough insect. You only see them outside at this time of year, but frequently people mix them up with cockroaches and they think they've got a real problem, but they're completely harmless, if a bit scary looking. Another thing that's proliferating at this time of year are honeybees. This is a swarm of honeybees. The queen's in the hive. A young queen will be evicted and she'll take her loyal workers with her. And this is a hive hanging off a branch of a tree. Now that's obviously not something where they'll be able to stay. They're searching from somewhere new, for example, in the chimney, and they'll perhaps move into a chimney. It causes huge distress to people, but frequently they just simply move on within a couple of hours. This is what a honeybee looks like. These are the workers coming out of a wooden crate. And actually this crate, the queen had moved into a crate of machine parts, and it was actually sent from Coventry to Lisburn, completely without disturbing the swarm of bees that were inside it. And again, I'm glad to say we were able to get a beekeeper to remove them, so there were no bees harmed in that. Another pest that does crop up at this time of year are textile moths or clothes moths. They'll damage fabric with wool and silk and cottons, expensive ones normally. Fabrics, wool, silk and cottons. It doesn't mean that synthetic carpets aren't attacked, but sometimes they can be if it's wool rich. It's the larvae that does the damage. The adults really only survive for a few weeks, and they only survive for a few weeks, and their purpose is simply to breed and lay eggs. We use pheromone traps which attract the males to assess if they're there, and we do that where there are. We do that in some places for the National Trust where they've got costumes that they're trying to preserve. As I say, the adults only live for a couple of weeks. Another pest at this time of year are garden ants. They can give you a really nasty bite and sting, but normally they don't disturb you if you leave them alone. Like other social insects, the queen is at the center of the colony, and the workers forage for food, bringing it back to the nest. They always follow scent trails, and here in this photograph they're communicating. They follow scent trails, and if you watch them for a while, you'll see where they're going. They are attracted to sweet foods, and so if there's a little bit of spillage or sugar or something like that, it's not cleaned up, they can find their way inside. If you want to do something with it, what are called ant bait stations, they're available in hardware or Tesco's or B&Q. This is one that we would have used. Very, very simple. The insecticide is inside a little station which won't come out, it won't be washed out, and very useful at helping control them. It doesn't happen immediately, but it does help reduce the problems with ants. Lastly, I'll just mention wasps briefly. Again, a social structure, I just mentioned this. If there's time later before they become a problem, which is at the end of, sort of the end of August, have a chat with you again about this. The queen emerges round about March and starts building a nest. This is a picture of an old nest in a garden shed here, and this season's new nest. So we're in the peak of the multiplication of workers, but they really are not causing a problem, and they're very, very beneficial at this time of year. One of the things that we find is that they're very frequently mixed up with a lovely little insect called hoverflies. They're often mixed up with those. So this is the wasp that everybody is aware of, the black and yellow stripes, very easily to recognize. But here's a photograph of a hoverfly, and you can see the same black and yellow markings. But the hoverfly does, as it says on the tin, it hovers at flowers that it's going to gather pollen. In fact, in this photograph, you can see perhaps here a little buff-tailed bumblebee as well on the sunflower. So that's everything, folks, that I would say. I hope I haven't run on too long. If you need any advice or help, drop me an email at alan@hygienezone.com. If you want something identified, ping me an email of a photo. Don't get too close to it with your phone or whatever you're trying to take it, because it then arrives and it's out of focus. If it's possible, include something like a scale, a ruler, etc. And that can help. And as I say, don't panic. That's all from me, folks. I hope that's of some use.
That was very interesting. That was very good. I'll say I'll open for questions. I'm going to ask a quick question first. You showed some photographs of like the polystyrene or the insulation in a ditch.
Yes.
And then followed by the next photograph was the office full of papers. So that's not really food per se, but so it's dry. I'm guessing it wouldn't overly smell. Would rats still attack that sort of stuff?
Inside, in that office, it was just cleared out when somebody moved, and they they just left it for clearing out. Theoretically, it should have been done immediately, but it was actually left for quite a few months. The polystyrene along that fence line, in among that was coffee cups, wrappers, food, things like that, where the workers had just chucked it instead of in the bin, at the bin, and it has all gone along there. At the other side of the fence is the motorway, where people are chucking food out or rubbish out the windows. So you've got that dead area, as you know it, coming out of Belfast. You've got that area where it's well overgrown, which is ideal shelter. And then if you leave food for them, that's the problem there. The concern there is you've got all those car dealerships along that fence line, and we have had quite a number of vehicles, not recently, but it does happen quite regularly, of rats actually getting into vehicles and damaging them.
Yeah.
That can happen more frequently than you realise.
I can imagine. Thanks for that. Anybody else have a question for Alan?
Just actually on Alan's point there, I live out in the country, and we had rat damage. They got in, it's a pickup we have for transporting animals, and it got in and it's chewed wires at the back. We've put rat traps down. Is there anything else that can be done?
In the vehicle?
It's got in the tailgate.
Yes. Well, keep it clean. Try and clean it out. Make sure it's clean. What has happened in most cases like that, there has been food where we've had vehicles damaged. I mean, one I'm thinking of in particular was one of these, the Mercedes equivalent of the BMW X5, and they got into that. Now, the youngsters had just tipped food. I mean, it was really untidy. There was food everywhere inside, which was one of the reasons they were in. Often the attraction is just heat in the wintertime, but they can get in. It's shelter that they're looking for, so it's some of the dead spaces. There really isn't much else that you can do, but I can probably have a look at it and maybe give you some advice. If I see sort of the area, it might be just park it slightly further away, but they have to be coming from somewhere, and they'll be getting in and out of the vehicle for water. With rats, they need much more water than mice. So in a situation like that, they will be going, they might be living in the headlining or inside the vehicle, but they have to be going in and out for water.
I mean, again, you're talking about saying keeping it clean. Can rats and mice distinguish between like an air freshener, which I'm guessing might smell, it might attract things? Air fresheners and things like that there, would they attract, or does it have to be food?
No, it's food. Perhaps I didn't want to spend too long going into the biology, but all rats and mice keep chewing. They have to keep chewing to keep their incisor teeth pared down. Unlike humans, their incisor teeth grow throughout their life. And if they don't chew on hard objects, their teeth will continue to grow and they can't eat. So that's where we get the damage, for example, to that wire under the security hut. And equally, that's what's happening in the vehicles. They're chewing on hard plastics and objects like that to keep the teeth pared down, not necessarily for food.
Yeah. Any other questions before we move on to, what time is it now? Try and get a one-to-one session in. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Alan, very informative. Learned a few things just in terms of I need to go and get rid of that bird feeder table out there. It's not needed right now.
Don't get rid of the bird feeder table. They don't need it at this time of year, but clear up around it if you can. Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, a lot of seeds fall out down to the ground and stuff, so that's immediately when you were saying that, I was thinking, need to reevaluate.
I've got a broken extract event as well that I need to replace. So, yeah, before birds get into it.
Indeed.
This is the time of year they're looking for somewhere to breed, and a broken extractor fan is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Right, I think it's time. It's time to go. As much as we love this, it's time to call it a day. Is everybody back in? Everybody's back in. Good stuff. Guys, thanks very much for coming. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're not a member, please consider joining. Lots of nice benefits, including if you want to use this, just to remind those members that haven't used it, if you want a large Zoom meeting over 40 minutes with a group, as a member, you get to use, subject to availability, the first come, first serve sort of thing at the moment. This Zoom license, so we're trying to help out members by doing that as another benefit as well. Great to see us all, and unless anybody else has any final words, anyone wants to say anything, we'll call it there for the day.
Thank you, Turan.
Thank you.
All right. Good to see you guys.
All right.
Well done.